groovefm.co.nz. Well, last Sunday I had the wonderful opportunity of going to Death Ray Records, which is in Newtown. It's pretty much a hole-in-the-wall place, but it's full of the coolest vinyl that you've ever seen. And playing there was the Raskolnikovs, which is a small town band that had been playing in Wellington for years. Turned out they started in the early 2000s and have been going ever since. They feature currently in the lineup Brett Moody on guitar and voice, Danny Todd on violin, Justin Barr on the drums and other percussion-y things, Matt Steindl on accordion, melodica and voice, and Minno Hubers on bass, banjo and voice. And they dragged me back to their flat afterwards to have a bit of a chat about the band and tell us all about the things they've been up to. And this, their third EP, which is called At the Hour of Sunset, which they actually gave me a copy of it, and even though it's available on digital form as well, it's a beautiful vinyl piece. So, had a bit of a chat to them and a beer as well.
And now for something completely different.
Absolutely rolling, and the first thing I have to say is happy birthday. Have I still got cake amongst my teeth? Because thank you for that.
You got a candle.
Yeah, is that a candle? What's it like playing in a record shop that small?
We've played in smaller ones, so that one was actually reasonably spacious. It had a stage as well, which most record shops don't have.
What's the smallest record shop you've played in?
There's one in Timaru. What is that called? I can't remember what that was
What's
called.
the square meterage of that?
That was bigger.
That was bigger.
Mm. But you meant smaller spaces, like the time you played it back. The pit bar.
The pit bar, yeah.
Which was pretty tight. Mm. That was before I joined.
Yeah, pre-Minnow.
Mm. So that's out of context. Now let's start from the start.
Pre-Minnow tension.
That was absolutely out of context. Well, first of all, help me pronounce the band name correctly.
The Raskolnikovs.
Tell me, where did that come from?
Crime and Punishment, a novel by Dostoevsky.
To the world, you know it's coming to an end. Say hello to this brand new show where the pigs have gotten out of the pen. With a rusty nail, and then we drove them to your heart, bringing down everything you thought you knew with a carefully chosen cutting remark.
Can you do Dostoevsky again?
No, I think you should do it.
Dostoevsky.
Yeah.
Can you edit that one in?
Just edit in Minnow saying
I think his first name was Fyodor.
Yeah. Mm. And the characters were the Raskolnikov brothers? Or was it just one brother?
No, you're thinking of the brothers Karamazov.
Some Russian stuff.
Yeah.
Apparently he's an idiot.
So this is the inspiration for a band?
Yeah, well, that was the novel I was reading at the time when I met Matt Pants here at the Botanical Gardens in the halcyon days of January 2003.
I'm not even sure I was born then.
It was the dawning of a new era, really. In fact, myself and Jelly over there, we'd just moved up from Dunedin, and I'd probably been in town 2 weeks and went to the Sound Shell. Don't remember the band, but I...
it was Lucy and Johnson's Box of Birds.
There you go.
Which is still going in some form.
Quite possibly.
Yeah.
And we were, drinking Riesling or something on the lawn. I don't know what we're probably...
Ooh la la.
Probably...
I'm glad I'll join later.
It was probably New Zealand lager. Yeah.
Fairly very rough at that time.
Yeah.
And somehow somebody mentioned Tom Waits, and then the rest is history. Oh, and then Matt came round to my flat, and he brought 2 coffees, like one for him and one for me, which is quite cool. And and so we sat in a room and we
Started a beautiful friendship.
we worked out one song straight away, which was called "The Ill Wind That Blew No Good Over the White Capped Sea of Discontent," and then. But the thing was, Matt didn't write down the songs like, you might write down E, D, G, whatever the chords for the song was. He would write down, much like Miles Davis, the shape of the song. So write down like a graph. And so first songs that we played just looking at a graph.
For graphics.
Yeah.
I use pie charts. We all use different forms of information.
Just get out the spreadsheet, extrapolate out. Oh, the dice is not quite working their way.
There is such a thing as music, its own language.
Who uses that?
Rescue me from my boredom and my greed. Will terror from her is a terrible thing, an atlas obscure, a wedding ring.
So, you told me before that the band's been on a bit of a hiatus for a while and has come back.
Yeah, the hiatus ended in 2009.
That was before I was born.
That was a while ago. No, I don't think I was born then either.
So, 2005 was a good year for us. We were playing in the summer.
Played at least 3 gigs that year.
We played a lot of the summer festivals, Island Bay, Cuba Street. We played the Laguna, Hula Laguna. And then I went to Melbourne, and the first bass player, Dan Luca, he moved overseas too. And then we all met up in foggy London. We played a couple of shows there. We played in a backyard in Stratford. We played where I was living in a small town in North Devon called Bideford. And we also played in Brighton.
You're not selling me the rock and roll dream.
Where we fossicked all of our furniture just off the streets. It was real rock and roll.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man.
Dossing, eh?
Yeah.
Dumpster diving.
But you still had barbecues in your backyard.
It was like just this overgrown patch of lawn in the centre of the council flat. It was just full of needles and used condoms. Dog shit, and everyone was just looking out the window going, who are these weird guys? Why are they hanging out in the middle of the council flat? Because no one ever went into the lawn.
Oh, that'll be the Kiwis.
The preacher he moans as he walks to the altar. He sees he's alone with a mouth full of sawdust. He spits out the vows, will you love me forever?
And then 2009 came back, got Menno on board here on the bass. He's from such notoriety bands as The Users. And
failed the audition for Fleetwood Mac, I see.
No, I don't know.
He's a guitar player and a really loud singer. Usually he doesn't need a microphone.
Oh, I didn't need it at the record store.
So he joined, and also Danny Todd on violin. He joined. Yeah, then we got this brass section as well.
And the brass section is sitting very quietly over here. We're in your house, so thank you for allowing us to be in your house and feeding us with beer, which is very nice. You're the locals for Newtown, aren't you?
Yes. Yeah.
You're smiling nicely. I have to say that you did a wonderful job playing the trombone in such a small space, which is pretty cool. Death Ray Records is about as big as my bathrooms, which is pretty incredible. I think you had enough slide space in between the desks.
Yeah, it was good. It was actually a much bigger space than I thought it would be. I thought it would be tiny, but it was.
And you're the drummer that seems to play in lots of things as well.
I play in a few bands, but usually really loud rock bands.
What bands?
What bands? He said subtly.
I play in a sort of scuzz punk band with Mino called Scheitgeist, and a really loud band called The Golden Awesome.
With Matt Pants.
With Matt, yes.
And also in Eben Sparrow, sometimes you play with them.
Occasionally I fill in for Eben Sparrow.
Now we've heard of them.
Unlike those other bands.
What's the listening to the music? I can't help helping. There's a little bit of sort of Pogues, Nick Cave, sea shanty. What was that the original inspiration when you first started?
Pretty much, we had a piano accordion and. So
don't play it.
Yeah.
Tried that.
Yeah, and we had violin.
Could have had anything.
So I think Matt had a few sea shanty tunes that he played. One of our early songs, Henry the Butcher, was a tune that he'd already had with the first bass player and violin player, Irene Beautray. And then we just it almost became a challenge to write a song in 2/4 or a polka beat or a tango. And we found that it was actually really fun to dance and play that kind of music, and other people seemed to like dancing to it as well, so we just kept doing it. Not all of our songs are Eastern European influence or anything, or some of them a bit old country or whatever, some a bit more rock and roll, but it's basically what works with the instruments that we have.
Full of sticks and bones and hearts and livers and the scent of rose. The banks are all crumbling at the edge of town. Who built this damn chapel on unstable ground? Well, take me away, take me away, get me right out of here, where I don't care.
So an EP.
It's our third EP, by the way. It's the third one we've released in 13 years. We've also released a full-length album as well.
And I can't help noticing that you've released it on vinyl, which is that's a challenge in itself.
It was really challenging, actually.
In the iPod generation.
Well, I mean, I think obviously you could read the stats, and vinyl is making a comeback, but we really did it for ourselves, that's what we like to listen to.
And we don't have the modern technology to listen to it any way else.
And we don't like, personally, I'm speaking for myself really, I don't really listen to CDs. I got rid of my CD player, I've got, the iTunes, and I've got my record player fixed up, and that suits me. I think we were sold a lie with CDs in the 80s.
Now you tell me. I've got hundreds of the damn things. What am I going to do with them? They'll make you come back. I know. The great bird scarers.
Retro CDs, yeah. He skips on
reissues.
We had this great run last year where we played a few weddings and some birthday parties and a few corporate gigs, and got a bit of money together. Stopped these guys spending it all on booze. Put it into account. So
stop these guys from spending it all on booze.
Those guys.
Yeah.
Particularly the brass.
Notes from the underground.
But yeah, so we had a bit of cash, and then we're like, why not?
So where did you go to make this?
Wanganui.
Space Monster.
Space Monster.
That was called.
Yep, and Warner Emery recorded it there. We drove there on Friday night. My car broke down on the way, so we came in on a tow truck.
So rock and roll.
Yeah. And then while my car was getting fixed, we recorded the album on Saturday and played a gig that night with the Riffs. Drab Do Riffs. And then we did the vocals on the Sunday. But that's not all. That's not when it was finished.
that was 5 years ago.
That was 5 years ago.
Did you have to break down another car to get back?
Well, that was I kind of like after that. I sort of thought I'm just going to buy a Toyota. So that's been pretty good.
Toyota's a Toyota.
Yeah, and pretty much we've done like a little bit every year since then. So like I think the next year me and Mino recorded the guitar solo for one of the songs. And
that was enough for the year.
Yeah. And then the next year we
fitted in a couple of gigs perhaps.
Yeah, next year we did like the backing vocals and the percussion. Yeah. I remember doing that. Some of the percussion is actually ear vent. And some banjo on there that Mino put on. And then most recently the horns as well. So it was recorded before Notes from the Underground joined, but we've got some trombone and trumpet on there.
Oh wow! So I've just been reading about the Dunedin Double, which was done basically in an afternoon for each band.
Yeah.
They went up that afternoon, did a gig that night, did their bit the next day, and they were done. Yeah. You've done the opposite.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you walk past Slowboat Records today, you'll see the Dunedin Double record in there for $59.95 second hand, which is...
Whereas ours is only $25.
Yeah.
So who's the real winner?
It's a perfect place to stop.
And the center roads, the banks are all crumbling at the edge of town. Who built this damn chapel on unstable ground? Well, take me away, take me away, get me right out of here. Well, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care where. above us, the water below. Is this what we asked for? Is this how it goes? We suffer in silence, we suffer in love, a wonderful vision ordained from above. You came down to the water with the